Sagittarius, you're overwhelmed by family duties. Unlock relief with astrology. There was a time when you woke each morning with a spark in your chest, that unmistakable Sagittarius energy that saw life as an open road, a grand adventure waiting to unfold. You thrived on possibility, on freedom, on the joy of discovering meaning in every experience. But somewhere along the way, that fire began to dim. The road narrowed. The days became full of caring for everyone else. Your parents who need your patience, your children who need your energy, your partner who needs your steadiness. And you, radiant Sagittarius, have become the quiet center holding it all together. At first, you told yourself it was temporary, that once things calmed down you'd find your way back to yourself. But the seasons kept changing and the weight kept growing. The endless errands, the emotional labor, the invisible expectations, they've woven themselves into your daily rhythm. You smile through it because you love deeply, because you believe in being strong, because you don't want anyone to feel like a burden. But deep inside something whispers, "I'm so tired." You're not alone in that whisper. Across the world, millions of women like you, especially those in their midlife years, are navigating this quiet storm. In the United States, nearly 47% of adults between 40 and 60 find themselves part of the sandwich generation, caring for both aging parents and growing children. In Europe, projections show that by 2050, caregiving demands will increase dramatically as populations age and family structures shift. This isn't just your personal struggle. It's a generational one, and its weight has fallen most heavily on women. Yet for Sagittarius, the toll can feel especially heavy. You were born to expand, to explore, to live guided by faith and curiosity. The constraints of constant caregiving can feel like the dimming of your very essence. It's not just the physical exhaustion. It's the spiritual fatigue that comes from being disconnected from your freedom. Your optimism begins to feel forced, your laughter a little quieter, your dreams a little farther away. But here is where the deeper wisdom of your sign begins to awaken. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of truth, expansion, and divine perspective. And Jupiter's medicine is this. When life narrows, meaning becomes your map. You don't need to run from this chapter to reclaim your fire. You need to reinterpret it. Astrology does not promise escape. It offers understanding. Through its language, you can see that this season of your life isn't punishment. It's initiation. It's a sacred test of integration. Can the woman who once sought freedom in the world now find it within her own home, her own heart, her own rhythm? During Sagittarius season, when the sun illuminates your sign, the universe invites you to pause and look honestly at what has become too heavy. It's the perfect time to initiate truth-filled conversations with your family, to voice your needs without guilt, to realign your home dynamics toward cooperation instead of self-sacrifice. Jupiter's energy supports honesty that liberates rather than divides, the kind of dialogue that transforms chaos into understanding. This is your moment to remember that freedom is not absence of responsibility. It is presence within responsibility, the ability to live with openness, even when life feels full. You are not failing because you are weary. You are evolving because you are listening. So tonight, as you lie awake thinking of all the people who depend on you, remember this. The universe depends on your light just as much. You were never meant to burn out for others. You were meant to burn with purpose. Your journey toward relief begins not with escape, but with awareness. The stars are not asking you to do more. They are asking you to see differently. Because when you do, the flame that flickered begins to rise again. Steady, wise, and luminous. My care does not confine me. It teaches me where my freedom truly begins. Chapter 1: The Weight of Responsibility. When optimism turns to exhaustion. There are mornings when you wake before the sun, moving quietly through the house, tending to small tasks that no one will ever thank you for. You warm the kettle for your mother's tea, pack lunch for your children, answer messages, prepare the day before it begins. You move like light, gentle, constant, unacknowledged. But inside, the flame that once defined you burns low, flickering beneath the layers of duty. You tell yourself you're fine, that this is what love looks like. Yet somewhere, beneath the exhaustion, your soul is whispering that this cannot be all there is. Sagittarius is a sign born under Jupiter's generous light. Optimistic, visionary, eternally hopeful. You have always believed that life, no matter how challenging, offers meaning and possibility. But even Jupiter's blessings can feel far away when the weight of family demands presses in from all sides. You've spent years being the strong one, the helper, the problem solver, the emotional anchor for everyone around you. And though you rarely say it out loud, that strength has started to cost you. The sandwich generation is not just a phrase. It's a lived reality. Across the United States, 47% of midlife adults are caring for both aging parents and their own children. Many of them are women like you, born into a generation that bridges two worlds. One that still depends on you for care, and one that looks to you for guidance. In Europe, demographic shifts tell the same story. An aging population, shrinking family sizes, and an emotional burden that falls silently onto daughters. You are part of this vast network of unseen caretakers, women who give and give until they vanish into their roles. And yet, Sagittarius, your pain carries a unique texture. It is not only physical fatigue, but spiritual disorientation. The fire that once gave you life, the hunger for freedom, for exploration, for growth, now feels contained, forced into narrow corridors of routine. You used to seek truth in distant places through study, through travel, through movement. Now, truth must be found in the confines of your living room, between doctor appointments and grocery lists. It is no wonder your body aches, your sleep grows shallow, your laughter comes slower. The spirit that once roamed under open skies now feels confined within four walls. This emotional contraction is not weakness. It's a symptom of imbalance. Sagittarius thrives on expansion, and when your life narrows too much, your body and mind begin to protest. The fatigue that won't lift, the anxiety that hums under your ribs, the guilt that follows even moments of rest. These are signals from your soul, not failures of will. They are reminders that you have given more than your energy can sustain. You've likely told yourself you have no choice, that everyone depends on you, that things would fall apart if you stopped. But this belief, though noble, is untrue. The truth, which Jupiter always insists upon, is that love cannot thrive without boundaries, and generosity without replenishment leads to depletion. You cannot pour from a vessel that has gone dry. And yet, the Sagittarius heart resists rest. You equate motion with purpose, care with love, strength with worth. But even your ruling planet, Jupiter, vast and powerful, moves in cycles. It expands and contracts, teaches and retreats, shines and rests. You are being asked to do the same. So pause here just for a moment. Sit with this truth. Your exhaustion is not a flaw to be fixed, but a signal to be honored. It is the body's way of saying, I need space to remember myself. You are not failing anyone by slowing down. You are protecting the very light that others depend on. Begin by naming what has become too heavy. Not to complain but to clarify. Jupiter's magic begins with honesty. Write down what drains you most. Not just the tasks, but the emotions behind them. Guilt, fear, the pressure to be everything. Seeing these truths in your own handwriting is a quiet act of rebellion against the myth of endless endurance. Then breathe. Imagine each exhale releasing a little of what isn't yours to carry. This is not selfishness. It is soul maintenance. Your optimism, Sagittarius, is not gone. It's simply buried beneath fatigue. But optimism that denies pain is not truth. It is escape. Real optimism, the kind Jupiter teaches, comes from seeing clearly and still believing in light. That's where your healing begins. In honesty, not denial. Ask yourself tonight, what truth am I avoiding about how tired I am? And when the answer comes, do not turn away. Truth for you is not just liberation, it is medicine. The archer in you still stands, bow in hand, but now your aim must shift. It's no longer pointed at the horizon. It's aimed inward toward the truth that will set you free. And in that truth lies the doorway to the next step, to rediscovering the wisdom and purpose hidden inside this season of overwhelm. Chapter 2: The Wisdom of Sagittarius. Truth as liberation. There is a sacred moment that arrives after the breakdown. That quiet instant when you finally stop pretending you can do it all. The dishes may still be in the sink, the to-do list unfinished, but something inside you softens. You sit still long enough to admit what you've been avoiding. I am exhausted. And yet, strangely, in that honesty, a tiny spark of relief appears. Because truth for you, Sagittarius, has always been the beginning of freedom. You are ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, faith, and truth. You were never meant to live in denial or smallness. Your sign thrives when you see life clearly, when you can name what is, even when it's uncomfortable. The illusion of endless strength may have protected you for a time, but Jupiter asks for something deeper: authenticity. The kind of truth that liberates, not wounds. When you tell yourself you're fine while silently unraveling, you cut off your connection to Jupiter's expansive current. But when you allow yourself to say, "This is hard. I'm tired. I need space," you reopen that channel. Honesty becomes oxygen. It restores clarity where confusion once reigned. Sagittarius wisdom is not about sugarcoating reality. It's about seeking meaning within it. You've always possessed a natural gift for perspective. Even in chaos, a part of you senses there's a larger pattern at play, a lesson unfolding beneath the surface. That instinct is Jupiter's blessing. It's what allows you to transform pain into philosophy, burden into understanding, and responsibility into purpose. Astrologically, this is a season to return to that perspective. Sagittarius season, when the sun illuminates your sign, is your annual invitation to realignment. It is a cosmic checkpoint, a moment to pause and ask, what truths am I ready to live more fully? This is an ideal time to open honest dialogues with your family, not with blame or frustration but with clarity. Expressing your needs isn't selfish, it's responsible. Jupiter supports communication that brings growth to everyone involved. You can even align these conversations with Mercury's transits, periods when communication flows more easily. When Mercury moves through Sagittarius or forms supportive aspects to Jupiter, words carry extra resonance. This is when you can speak from the heart and be heard, not as someone complaining, but as someone clarifying what's needed for balance. Imagine sitting down with your family, your parents, your partner, your children, and saying calmly, "I love you all deeply, but I'm only human. I need rest. I need your help." There might be discomfort at first, but Jupiter's truth always leads to expansion. When spoken with grace, truth invites cooperation. What once felt like isolation begins to transform into shared understanding. This is the deeper purpose of truth in your life now, not to divide but to free. Sagittarius energy teaches that honesty is the highest form of love. It dismantles illusions so that real connection can take root. By telling the truth, first to yourself then to others, you dissolve the resentment that breeds in silence. You create space for something new. Respect, reciprocity, harmony. One woman I once worked with, also a Sagittarius, learned to do exactly this. After years of silently managing everything, her father's appointments, her children's schoolwork, the household, she reached a breaking point. During a Jupiter transit through her communication sector, she decided to hold what she called family councils every Sunday evening. Everyone had to attend. Together, they shared what they needed and planned the week ahead. What began as a logistical meeting became something sacred. A circle of honesty that replaced tension with teamwork. "I stopped feeling like the caretaker," she told me, "and started feeling like a guide again." That is the essence of Jupiter's teaching. Guide, don't grind. Expand, don't endure. Sagittarius is not meant to carry others alone, but to inspire them to walk beside her. This is also a good time to reflect on how you define truth. Is it always external, something you seek in others, in knowledge, in philosophy? Or can it be internal? A voice inside you that says, "This is enough for now. You can rest." Jupiter's light is not only cosmic, it is intimate. It shines most brightly when you turn it inward. You are being asked to trust that your truth will not break the world around you. It will rebalance it. It will reveal what's real, what matters, and what must evolve. And from there, freedom returns, not because the duties vanish but because your relationship with them transforms. So tonight, as you sit beneath the same sky that has always called to you, take a breath and speak softly to yourself. "I no longer need to hide behind strength. My truth is my guide, and my honesty is my freedom." Then look upward for a moment. Imagine Jupiter glowing golden against the velvet dark. Vast, benevolent, endlessly expanding. That is your mirror. You are not shrinking under duty. You are stretching into wisdom. This is how Sagittarius heals. Through truth that liberates, perspective that restores faith, and honesty that becomes grace. Chapter 3: Healing the Overload. Fire sign remedies and cosmic practices. You have faced the truth, Sagittarius, that your fire has dimmed under the weight of too many roles. Now the question becomes, how do you restore it? How do you return to yourself when exhaustion feels constant and your days revolve around the needs of others? The answer lies not in escape but in rekindling, in tending to your own flame as gently and intentionally as you would to someone you love. You are a fire sign, and fire by nature must breathe. It cannot survive in stagnation or suppression. It needs air, movement, and rhythm. The healing path for you now is to create rituals and spaces that allow your fire to circulate again, to transform pressure into presence, depletion into renewal. Begin with your archetype, the archer. She does not shoot her arrow aimlessly. She chooses her target with clarity. In times of overwhelm, your energy scatters in too many directions. Archery becomes a metaphor for your healing. Before you act, you must aim. Each morning, take a few minutes to set your aim. Ask yourself what truly matters today. What deserves my energy and what can wait? Writing your answers down brings focus, anchoring you in intention rather than reaction. This act of aiming shifts caregiving from chaos into choice. Instead of trying to meet every demand, you move through the day guided by purpose. The archer's wisdom reminds you, precision is more powerful than speed. You don't need to do everything. You need to do what aligns with your spirit. To support your body, the vessel that carries your flame, turn to the earth's quiet allies, herbs connected with the fire element. These plants awaken warmth, circulation, and vitality while grounding your nervous system. Rosemary clears mental fog and strengthens memory, a gentle tonic for those juggling endless details. Add it to morning tea or infuse it in oil to massage your temples when fatigue lingers. Ginger restores courage and energy, stoking the inner heat that sustains motivation. A cup of ginger tea after long days reawakens your life force. Calendula soothes the emotional body, softening irritability born from burnout. Its golden petals, like miniature suns, remind you that joy still exists in small, luminous moments. Prepare these herbs during Jupiter's favorable transits, days when optimism feels more accessible, when life invites renewal rather than resistance. As the water steams and fragrance fills the air, imagine Jupiter's golden light infusing the brew. This is your personal communion with the cosmos, a reminder that care for yourself is an act of reverence, not indulgence. Movement, too, is medicine for you. Fire cannot remain still. It thrives through flow. Whether it's yoga, dancing in your living room, or even taking archery lessons if that speaks to your spirit, movement realigns your energy with vitality. When you move your body with intention, you loosen the emotional weight stored in it. Each stretch, each breath, each step becomes a quiet declaration. I am still alive. I am still burning bright. And then there is visualization, one of the most potent forms of healing available to your sign. Each evening, close your eyes and imagine Jupiter above you, radiating light the color of molten gold. See that light streaming down into your crown, flowing through your spine, expanding outward with every breath. Let it fill the spaces where fatigue once lived, replacing heaviness with warmth. As you inhale, whisper inwardly, I am guided. As you exhale, I am protected. Repeat until your body feels lighter, your mind quieter. This visualization isn't just imagination. It's energetic alignment. The more you practice it, the more your nervous system learns to associate rest with safety, something many caregivers forget how to feel. You might also find comfort in tangible allies like crystals. Sagittarius resonates deeply with citron, amethyst, and turquoise, stones of joy, peace, and clarity. Hold one during meditation or place it near your bed. Let it serve as a reminder that you are not alone. The earth itself is holding you. Most importantly, allow these practices to be simple. Healing doesn't require elaborate rituals. It requires consistency and sincerity. Lighting a candle before bed, taking a mindful breath before responding to a request, or stepping outside to feel sunlight on your skin. These are sacred acts when done with awareness. As you weave these small rituals into your days, something subtle yet profound begins to shift. You start to remember that care and freedom are not opposites. When you nurture yourself, you restore the energy that makes generosity possible. When you tend your own fire, the warmth naturally extends to those around you. Sagittarius, this is how you heal. Not by abandoning your responsibilities, but by anchoring yourself within them. You are learning that balance doesn't come from control. It comes from rhythm. Each breath, each choice, each pause becomes part of your sacred choreography with life. So tonight, before you sleep, place your hand over your heart and whisper, "My fire is my guide. I tend it with love, and it lights the way for all I care for." Let Jupiter's golden light settle over you like a blanket. Feel your body soften, your spirit steady, your flame hum quietly. Not raging, not fading, but glowing with calm strength. This is the warmth of healing. This is the return of your power. Chapter 4: Reclaiming Time, Rebuilding Freedom. Freedom has always been your heartbeat, Sagittarius. That sacred pulse that reminds you who you are. But when you have spent years tending to everyone else's needs, freedom begins to feel like a foreign language, one you used to speak fluently but can no longer recall. Yet somewhere inside, your spirit still remembers. It waits quietly beneath the noise of obligation, whispering that freedom is not gone. It has simply changed form. You no longer seek it in distant journeys or empty calendars. You seek it now in moments of choice, in claiming time as your own, even within a full and demanding life. To rebuild freedom is not to abandon your duties. It is to re-enter them with consciousness, with rhythm, and with self-compassion. Start small. Each morning before the day begins, give yourself 15 sacred minutes. Time that belongs only to you. No phones, no conversations, no caregiving. Sit with your coffee in silence. Step outside and watch the light shift across the sky. Journal your thoughts freely, or simply breathe and feel your heartbeat. These few minutes are not a luxury. They are your daily declaration. I exist beyond my roles. Over time, these quiet intervals accumulate into something steady, a pulse of selfhood that no chaos can erase. Many Sagittarius women find liberation not in isolation, but in connection. Your sign thrives in shared wisdom and community. Freedom does not mean doing everything alone. It means surrounding yourself with those who understand your journey. Across the world, online and in person, caregiver support groups are blooming. Spaces where women like you can share stories, frustrations, and laughter without judgment. Virtual gatherings, meditation circles, or forums built for caregivers can offer companionship when the walls begin to close in. The relief that comes from being heard is powerful medicine. One woman, also a Sagittarius, once told me she found her freedom in these circles. Every Thursday evening, she joined an online group for women balancing care work and family life. "It's my night of truth," she said. "No masks, no pretending. We talk about guilt, joy, exhaustion, and dreams. For 1 hour, I breathe as myself again." That is Jupiter's energy in motion, connection as expansion, honesty as healing. You can also reclaim time through creativity, a deeply Sagittarian form of liberation. Paint, write, sing, garden, learn something new. Jupiter rules wisdom and learning. Each act of creativity reconnects you with that archetype of the philosopher-explorer. It reminds you that growth doesn't end because your schedule is full. It simply takes new shapes. Your soul still craves exploration, but now the terrain is inner, not outer. This reclamation of time is not just emotional. It's spiritual. When you carve out moments for yourself, you send a message to the universe. My well-being matters. And Jupiter, ever the generous teacher, responds by expanding the space around you. Life starts to open again, not because the responsibilities disappear, but because your perspective transforms. You begin to see caregiving not as a cage, but as a sacred rhythm, a dance between giving and receiving. To deepen this practice, try a visualization each night before bed. Close your eyes and imagine a circle of golden light, Jupiter's glow, expanding from your chest. See it radiate outward until it fills the room. In that circle stand all those you care for. Parents, children, loved ones. Instead of feeling drained by them, imagine them warmed by your light, nourished, not consuming. Then see their light glowing back toward you, feeding you in return. The exchange is balanced, fluid, alive. This is the truth the stars want you to remember. Real care is reciprocal. If you find yourself slipping back into exhaustion or guilt, use this affirmation as a touchstone. I am free even in the act of giving. My time is sacred, my energy is renewable, my love is infinite. As you repeat it, notice how your breath deepens. This is Jupiter's breath moving through you. Faith returning, light reawakening. The world will always ask for more of you, Sagittarius. But you are learning that boundaries are not barriers. They are invitations to sustainability. You are not here to burn out in service to others. You are here to embody the balance of the archer, The steady hand, the clear aim, the grounded grace that knows when to release and when to rest. You are not just surviving caregiving, you are mastering the art of living through it. Your freedom is no longer fragile. It is chosen, reclaimed moment by moment. So tonight, when you finally sit down in the quiet, remember this. The horizon is still there, even if it's just outside your window. You don't have to chase it anymore. You've brought it home into your own life, into your own heart. I walk through responsibility without losing my rhythm. I care without forgetting to breathe. And in the dance between duty and desire, I am free. This is how you rebuild your freedom, Sagittarius. Not by escaping life, but by expanding within it. Conclusion: the return of the radiant archer. There comes a quiet dawn after long years of running on empty. A morning when you wake and realize you are breathing more easily, standing more gently in your life. The demands are still there. The caregiving, the schedules, the responsibilities remain. But something inside you has changed. You are no longer moving out of survival. You are moving with awareness, with rhythm, with grace. The chaos has not disappeared, but it no longer owns you. You've come home to yourself, Sagittarius. This chapter of your life has not been easy. It has stretched you in ways your younger self could never have imagined. It has asked you to give deeply, to hold contradictions, to keep showing up when you had nothing left to give. But it has also sculpted you into something luminous. A woman who has learned that her fire does not fade under pressure. It transforms. What once felt like exhaustion has become strength tempered with wisdom. What once felt like confinement has become devotion with boundaries. You now understand Jupiter's greatest teaching. Expansion does not always mean escape. Sometimes it means growing roots where you are, learning to find the horizon within the ordinary. True adventure was never only about travel or novelty. It was always about awareness. You have discovered that even in stillness, your spirit can soar. There was a time when you feared that caregiving had stolen your identity. Now you see it has revealed your depth. You are both the caregiver and the philosopher, both the nurturer and the seeker. You embody the paradox of Sagittarius itself, grounded in love, yet ever reaching toward the light. Your journey through fatigue, guilt, and responsibility has not diminished your freedom. It has refined it into something radiant, steady, and wise. You've learned to balance Jupiter's two gifts, expansion and faith. Expansion in knowing that your world can grow without needing to leave it. Faith in trusting that the universe supports your rest as much as your effort. You've learned to say no without guilt, to ask for help without shame, to honor your body as the sacred vessel of your spirit. You've learned to find beauty in the pause, not just the pursuit. Now, when you look at the night sky, Jupiter still gleams in the distance, vast, golden, and benevolent. But it no longer feels far away. You can feel its pulse inside your own heart, the same expansive rhythm that reminds you you are never truly confined. The same light that once guided travelers across oceans now lives within you, illuminating even your quietest days. You are the archer again. Your bow is steady, your aim is clear. But your target is no longer outside yourself. It is peace. It is wholeness. It is the joy of knowing you are exactly where you need to be. So when the days feel long, and the world once again tugs at your energy, return to this knowing. Your freedom is not measured by how far you roam, but by how deeply you belong to your own life. Whisper softly to yourself as you gaze at the horizon. I am the archer who never lost her aim. I am the fire that never went out. I am the seeker who found wisdom within. I am the light that Jupiter placed in motion. Breathe deeply. Feel the warmth rise again in your chest. Steady, luminous, unshakable. This is the return of your radiance, Sagittarius. Not the wild blaze of youth, but the golden glow of a woman who has learned how to shine through every season. You are not just surviving the weight of family duties anymore. You are living your truth. A truth that balances care with freedom, service with self-love, and movement with stillness. And in this balance, dear Sagittarius, you are free once more. The radiant archer, standing in both love and light.